Welcome back to the Flow State Podcast. I'm your host, Marshall Medallion, and today we have a special guest, video mogul, content creator, and branding expert, Sedrick Kirschman. Welcome to the show, brother.
What's going on, dude?
Chilling, bro. How's
Glad
life?
to be here. Good. Yeah, staying busy and just staying busy.
Yeah, for sure. I just read on your Instagram the other day, you said, been going at it for 6 years and now I shoot for a living and I love it every day.
Yeah.
Talk to us how you got started.
All right, so it actually all started probably like junior. I think it was the end of my senior year in college. I was going to college for graphic design and like animation, kind of like UI UX type of deal. And I was just chilling at my buddy's house one day, and he picked up a Sony A7 III, and I picked up a camera like back in high school, but it was like intermediate camera, like a Nikon D3200, so something not really like crazy.
Right.
And I remember him telling me like, yo, like you should pick up a camera and like we should start doing videos together. And I was just kind of like, why is that? And he was like, dude, you can go to so many places, meet so many cool people, and like just film cool things. I was like, okay. And so, I was using my Nikon for a little bit, and we were shooting music videos together, kind of just like going outside, filming, random stuff. And I remember coming back and like doing some editing with him, and the Nikon just wasn't matching up with what he had. He had the A7 III. And so I was like, dang, man, I need to get a new camera. And I was like, what do you think I should get? And he was like, just like look around at the market, see what brand like fits you. And I'm looking at his camera and I'm like, well, why don't I just get the same camera as you, different lens, and that way we got a little bit, he had a 50 prime at the moment, so I picked up a 28-75 millimeter, and ever since then, bro, like I haven't put down the camera. It's kind of crazy because the way it went was I was a senior in college, which is a pivotal moment, right? Because you're just like, you're about to get your degree, and you're kind of like, I was a graphic designer, so I was, I had a passion for art. I was taking fine art classes, graphic design classes, and stuff like that throughout actually my whole college career. And what happened was I was 2 years in at OU. And unfortunately, my GPA didn't meet the standard for the major I was trying to get into. So that was a very like pivotal moment for me. I had to figure out, what am I going to do? I don't want to waste years in college, you know what I mean? Because nowadays it's just so expensive.
For sure.
And I had to transfer schools. So I went from Ohio University to Miami University. I picked up all these early classes, bro. Like I had to park at like the bottom of this hill my first year and walk up like a half mile all the way to school. I was taking these 7 a.m. classes, all for design, and try to get into that major there. And that my portfolio review, they ended up like turning it down, and so I had to find like another major to get into. And luckily, I was able to get into interactive media design. And so I was in there learning like a little bit of code, a little bit of graphic design, actually some virtual reality stuff. So it was a very broad base of classes, which is funny because I never actually learned like a real video class in my whole college career. So when I first started picking up the camera, it was kind of crazy because I feel like I've had a lot of people tell me like college, or how much I say this, I had a lot of people telling me like, that's kind of a crazy moment that a lot of people start in high school, like picking up the camera, or like really early years. And like I picked it up my senior year and never looked back. So that's kind of like a moment of where you're like, it's never too late to start something else.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So senior year, I opened up a Best Buy card, and I dropped I think like $3,000 on it, and it was either like 24 or like 48 months finance with like 0%. So I was like, it was like a very determined thing that I was like, if I want to start this career, I'm gonna go out and like pay off this card.
You gotta make that money back.
Yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much how it started. And honestly, I was just more or less just having fun. I feel like when you start in this type of career, you don't really look to like try to make money like as fast. Like you just need to go out and practice, right? Like you just need to go outside with some homies and then just shoot, just shoot, like
build your resume, build your portfolio.
Yeah, you know what I mean, and just start connecting with people, like family, friends, their businesses and stuff like that. So that's pretty much where like it all began for me. It was just I picked up that camera, and honestly, I never looked back. Like I just started learning everything about video. I was very strict on like I'm a videographer, not a photographer, but obviously I can do photos as well. But I wanted my specialty to be like doing video work. Yeah,
and I feel like you might not have known this at the time, but you were ahead of the curve because photographers are a dime a dozen, and videographers, even though it's kind of like a thing to do now, I feel like videographers for years were like few and far between. Like if you did video, it's like, oh, you do video. Most people just take pictures.
Right.
So it's cool that you got in early. Kind of reminds me of when I first became a DJ. Some of my friends would be like, how much are you getting paid? And I'm like, I just get a tab, or like I'm just glad to be invited to shoot this, or not shoot, to play this party. So were there certain opportunities early that it was definitely feeding your faith as like, okay, I am, telling everybody I do video, and now they trust me to do video, and it's kind of like, whoa, you trust me, and oh, I'm getting paid for this, and then oh, I have demand, and now I'm able to raise my price, or with that, because like videography is kind of broad, right? So now with that demand, it's like you're able to kind of get into the niches, like okay, maybe I want to do this more, maybe I want to do that more. How'd you get to kind of like doing different, more specific, like working with specific people? Like I know you work with Jamar and T. I know you do commercials. I know you do different stuff like that. Yeah. How did that come about?
So I think everything happens through networking, to be honest with you.
Huge.
I feel like there's very talented videographers, but if you don't connect with like the right people or make those relationships, then you might miss out on opportunities.
Yeah.
So I feel like for me, when being able to do what I'm able to do now is because I was able to build relationships and work with people for a long, long time to build like their trust. Because in my eyes, like when I work with people, they usually tell me one thing. They tell me, hey, I have this opportunity for you, and you're like the first person I thought of. I've like heard that from like a lot of people. And I'm like, damn, I just need, okay, that's the whole goal. If somebody thinks of a videographer, who's the first person that they're thinking
100%.
of? You got to be the first person that they're thinking of. So it's, I like when it comes to working with doing video, I feel like it just doesn't matter if you're like the second guy on set or if you're like BTS. Like I feel like you got to have like a sense of urgency.
Yes.
And just work really hard no matter what project it is. And just also being just like in the beginning stages, or just like if you're like new, like sometimes like there's so many things with video when it comes to like batteries, lights, SD cards. It's like if you miss like one of those things, it can like mess up like the whole set, right?
Yeah. When preparation meets opportunity, you got to be ready.
Yeah, and it's like I've came across where a client might ask me like, oh, do we have that? And I'd be like, yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like better to have it than not use it than not having, you got to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
So I feel like it comes through networking. And it also comes through like trust. Like me working with Jamar came from a trusted thing, because it came from one of my clients, and he asked him like, who do you recommend? And I happened to be the guy that got brought up. And I feel like when you work with somebody that is, really popular, and his brand image is like it's like a delicate thing, right? Like we're filming all the time. When we export a video, like, we gotta watch it over, like 100%. Make sure it's like everything's cut and clear, stuff like that. And just like, you're around them in their personal life, so they have to be able to trust somebody that, isn't going to, I don't know, just like
be weird.
Yeah, just be weird, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's all about just being chill and just vibing out.
Yeah, I think it's, and I've seen you from afar before we met, and I noticed, especially like with this up and coming generation, which we're a part of as far as like in the industries, that it's not good enough to just service these people. You have to be that guy in your realm. And because it's more of a friendship, like even though you're doing work with Jamar and T, like they got to be able to be themselves around you. And you also, like I see you doing a lot of work, but you also do some like behind the scenes stuff so that people can know who they're watching. Like it's so much about highlighting you, because like you're the Jamar and T of your realm. You know what I mean?
I appreciate that.
That's the way that I look at it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And that's why I started this podcast, is I'm trying to like show people the behind the scenes, that like, okay, like, people see where you're at now, but they don't see what you had to do to get there necessarily all the time. They just see where you're at. And, it took hard work. It took networking and valuing those relationships. And then also, like you said, preparation, being ready. I've, throughout my life, have seen a lot of people that do big things or like service big time, A-list clients. And you have to be ready for their flow. So like talk to us.
Bro.
So talk to us a little bit about that. What's the kind of like weekly, schedule? Like how much of it is structured? How much of it is you just being ready to go at any moment's notice? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I think if you're working with somebody that, might be a pro athlete or like a celebrity, you definitely got to be on the fly when it comes to some things, which is, kind of like a luxury on their end, especially if they prefer to, work with you, just being ready and available. And I feel like if you have, some business going on somewhere else, it's like really nice to have like a team behind you too, in case you need those fulfilled. But for me, it's like, I make sure that they are never waiting on me.
Right.
So like when I went to Fashion Week with him like last year, if he told me that like we're gonna leave at 4 or something, I'm in the lobby at like 3:30, because I'd rather have them wait on me than or I'd rather have me wait for them than vice versa.
Correct.
So, and dude, I just think like just having all your ducks in a row is just so important. Like I have like flash, I got different lenses, I got batteries for days. SD cards are formatted. Like all that stuff's important, because you just want to keep it flowing, right? And I think that's just like the most important part, is just like always like being ready. But you definitely, for somebody that is like always on the go, and things can change in a week, you definitely got to be, there's definitely some on the fly moments. Like my first time working with him, we went to Miami. And I remember I was chilling at my buddy's farm on like that Sunday. It was like 6 o'clock. He like gave me a call and was like, "Hey, I want to make a YouTube video." I was like, "All right." I was like, "We meeting up at the shop or something?" He's like, "Nah, I need you in Florida like tomorrow." I was like, "All right, that's fine." So I took like a red eye flight at like 5 a.m. Touchdown, filmed what we had to do, and then went back home. So it's like being ready for something like that, and when the opportunity's given. So. And plus, if you're working with somebody professional or like celebrity, they're paying a lot of money, not just like for your service, but like for your stay or like for your flight or something like that. So you got to give them like, the utmost like respect of like
for sure
being punctual, right? Like 5 a.m. flight, like you got to get up early,
Yeah,
ready
yeah,
to go. You know
yeah.
what I mean? Can't miss a flight.
Yeah.
So just stuff like that is you know, super important when you
Right.
work with people like that. And it's not even they don't have to be a A-list or a celebrity. It's any client that you're working
Correct.
with. You know what I mean? You got to give everybody the utmost respect
Right.
for their time.
Right.
So, you know, that'll go a long way.
For sure.
So,
Talk to us a little bit about the Pro Bowl. I saw you got the shout out from Pat McAfee. That was really cool.
yeah. So that was, I want to say, that was our first time streaming in real life, the IRL with the TVU or the live view.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's that's another thing about being ready is he's got so many things going on that when it comes to like hooking up like the Twitch with the live view and all that, it's like he gave me the contact to who to connect with, like on how to set that up. So it's like, all right, like who do I need to call, who I need to talk to, so we can set this up like for you. Like,
So it's like homework. Like you got to go.
Yeah,
make that happen.
yeah. And I'm pretty sure we went live. Like he was like, hey, I want to go live in like 30 minutes or like 45 minutes. So, you know, on the phone with those dudes, and I'm like, all right, like how do we do this? And that was my first time actually doing that. And that was pretty cool because I just like sometimes I just don't really know what I'm getting into. I'm just like, hey, meet up at this place and we're gonna film. And I was like, all right. And I didn't even know what a radio row was. It was just like, it's like a big room filled with like all of the podcasts in like one space, especially like Pro Bowl since everybody's there. And so I'm just following him around, and you know, we're at the Pat McAfee show, and yeah, I wasn't expecting my cameo that day, to be honest. I was just filming, and I don't even know how they brought me up, but they just called me. I think it was because of Jamar's Twitch. So they pulled up his Twitch like live on ESPN with me like there. Like I was almost like live broadcasting. And I think it was just so funny. They like asked for my name, and they were just so surprised that my name was Sedrick.
Yeah.
So, and it's funny because half of the time I didn't even like know what they were saying because you're about 15, 20 feet back.
Right.
And then you have crowd noise behind you, and they're on headsets. So they're talking like casually because they can just hear themselves.
Right.
And so, I don't know, dude. I just see Pat McAfee's face, and he's like staring at me. And then after the show, I like rewatched like what they were talking about, and it was pretty hilarious. So I was like, I gotta clip that and throw it on socials. So
That's funny.
yeah.
Now that you've kind of developed into more like niche kind of content, is there more things that, so do you have a team?
I have people that, you know, shoot beside me and stuff like that. So
Okay, do you like, would you say that you have certain things that you prefer? Because like, you know, when you're first starting off, you know, you do everything, right?
yeah.
So now that you can kind of like pick and choose, are you in the frame of mind where you're trying to emphasize more on the creative aspect of things or prioritize the creative aspect of things? Or will you just do anything if the budget's there? Like how do you balance that? Because I don't think it's necessarily cut and dry.
Yeah, I feel like when you first start off, well, for me, when I first started off, I didn't even realize like there's like sports videography or like, you know, vlogging with athletes. When I thought about videography, I literally just thought about like weddings.
Okay.
And I think that's kind of the stereotype that comes in when you first start, because everybody's like, film weddings, it's good money. But I think it's just a growing development. I feel like a lot of people, what their passion was before they started doing media, it almost like they follow into that niche if they do
That makes sense.
media, right?
Yes.
So like, I mean, who's it? You might have to cut this, but I think it was King Griffey.
Okay.
He shoots a lot of sports now.
Yeah, he
I
does.
believe.
He just shot the Masters.
Yeah, so it's like, you know, you do sports and then you retire or whatever, and then you like get into shooting sports.
Right.
So, but for me, like dude, I was shooting like, when I first started, I was shooting I shot like a Sweet 16 like birthday party.
Like a recap?
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
what I mean? And then I shot a birthday for like a 1-year-old twins.
Yeah, yeah.
Like it was like a lot of events.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I shot my first wedding and ended up like getting kicked out of it, which is funny. It's just always a good story because
That sounds like a story.
Yeah, we got hired to shoot a wedding. The dude that introduced me to the camera, I worked with him for about probably like a year, like 2 years. He was kind of like mentoring me, and then ended up like stopped doing it. And I was kind of like this bird that left the nest, right? Like I was like, all right, like I can do this on my own.
Yeah.
And yeah, we went up and shot a wedding for this dude, I guess, that couldn't be there for certain reasons. And like it was like his daughter's wedding. So we went up there. The daughter knew who we were, the husband or whatever. And then all of a sudden, like the other family kind of questioned like who invited us or who hired us.
Right.
And they're like, yeah, you guys got to leave. And I was like, well, that's a great first wedding experience, getting kicked out. So it was kind of interesting. But no, I just shot a lot of weddings. You know, I remember I remember like my first video or like my first understanding of what I wanted to do, because I know like I was into cars, and you kind of have this dilemma when you're a videographer. You got stuff that like pays the bills, and you got stuff that you're passionate about.
That's what
and
I'm
you
talking
almost
about.
want to like try to combine both, right? Like, you know, I get paid to like, you know, film cars, shoot jewelry, and, you know, film with athletes. So it's like I got this like golden niche where like it pays the bills, and I love like what I do. But sometimes like, you know, you might get these like side quest gigs that would be like, you know, it's $1,000 for the day, and it's like not like
Side quest gigs. I love that, bro.
yeah, it's
I'm
like not the
remembering
most
that.
passionate things, but you're like, yeah, I can do that. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So I remember like I got hired to like shoot like restaurants one time. You know, I was not really passionate about like shooting food, but like, you know, I still like had fun.
Right.
And I feel like whenever you like get into something with videography, you almost like have to just like, you just got to experience it if you never shot it before.
Right.
I just shot winter sports this last year because
Nice.
I picked up snowboarding.
Yeah.
So I filmed like some competitions and people shooting that, and it's like, it's almost like anything I get into. I'm like, what would this look like behind a camera?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like it's just kind of easier these days too. Like I feel like when I first started, I was just always thinking like events and like weddings and stuff like that. But like these days, like kids like immediately get into like high school football and stuff like that, and I feel like I was just like, dang, I was not thinking about this when I first started. So like after I filmed my first high school football game, I was like, dude, why have I not been doing this like sports videography?
Exactly.
Yeah, so it's just a growing development. But eventually, I was like, you know, I want to get paid filming cars. You know, that was kind of like my top priority. So when I moved out of my parents, they moved to South Florida, and then I had to like, you know, pay my own rent and stuff like that. So I went to different car shops, asked them if I could, you know, film content for them, and just never stop. You just got to never stop with the game plan. Like for me, I was like, I know exactly what I want to do, and you'll always figure it out. That was just kind of like, that was my thing.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'll always figure it out.
Yeah.
So I've been with marketing companies before for a little bit, you know. I've done like social media stuff for like different car shops. So it's just, you know, always trying to figure out like what's next.
Yeah.
If it needs to be.
Yeah.
So a lot of pivotal things, you know.
For sure. Having a plan is great. I saw that Mercedes-Benz commercial. That was heat. That transition from the Mercedes logo to like flipping around. That's crazy. All right. So I have a real interesting question. How much of it is the gear and how much of it is the post-production edits and stuff like that?
That's a good one. How much is the gear, and then how much is it with the editing side? I want to say it's like
Like if I gave you a mid-level camera, maybe even like, not even mid-level, like let's say just like sufficient. Everything's 4K now, everything's on a basic level, right?
yeah.
Say I just gave you something simple. Could you turn up with it?
I feel like I could. It just, I guess it just depends what it is.
He's like, I'm such a gearhead.
Because it's like, are you giving me mics at all? Are you giving me lights? Do I have a gimbal in my hands?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, what's my lens? So it's just like,
Well, let's say you have
is it a crop sensor? Is it a full frame?
Well, say you have sufficient things in all of those, but not the best. Could you like figure something out? And have you had to figure things out? Like it sounds like a lot of these situations, even though you're prepared, there has to be situations where you could be more prepared if you would have known what you were about to get into. Have you finessed?
That's a good one. Trying to think, because I feel like it's almost like a 60-40. Like I feel like investing in really good gear is like really important. But I feel like what you make out of that film, like if you handed it to like a really, really nice editor, you know, they could spice some things up for it. Just really just depends on what it is. But for me, I've always been, I'm the type of guy that buys the most like expensive thing for whatever like hobby like I get into.
Right, you gotta have the best.
So it's kind of like, some people call it poserish, but I'm like, dude, if you're gonna get into something, you might as well have like really, you don't have to get like the Louis Vuitton of gear, but like you get at least like invest into something high quality, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like for me, when it comes to gear, it just makes the process of the post production a little bit easier.
For sure.
You know, because I mean I stuck with that A7 III for a while with like a 28 or was it 28 to 75 Tamron, and that's always been, you know, really good. But then like, you know, you're kind of like, all right, I want to get into like a G Master, you know, and then like when I first bought like my FX6, it like also impresses like clients too when you pull up with some like really good gear. So that's always like a plus.
Yeah, of course.
But I feel like if you know, don't have like the craziest gear, you know, sometimes then, you know, you might have to turn up a little bit in the post-production side. So I feel like it's just kind of whatever you got. And trying to think of a scenario where I was in that position. I'm just trying to figure out what that looks like, because
like, have you ever been in a moment that you're like, I have to capture this, and like regardless of if I'm prepared or not, I gotta like like, do you ever
such a good one.
think of it, because I'll explain what I'm talking about. Like, at first I stressed about the production of this podcast, and it stopped me from doing it. For a little bit. Until I was like, I have an iPhone, bought some DJI mics. I mean, I'm gonna do it. It's gonna get better with time, but I need to do it.
It just has to exist.
It has to exist, right? And then, you know, you learn on the path. You know, you learn like, okay, I need lighting, you know, on the guest, or I need to turn up the gain a little bit, or you know, do a little bit of this, do a little bit of that. But when I think of the question I asked you, I think of like, you know, you ever been to the like to the courts, like hooping or something like that, and you see somebody with like the arm sleeve and the freshest, you know, gear, but they suck. Or they suck. You know what I mean? They have the best gear, but they suck. You know what I mean? Like
posers.
Exactly. So you don't want to be like that. But no, I understand how it could be definitely beneficial to
give you a better experience.
Exactly, help the flow. Tell us a little bit about the marketing agency you started.
So I started an agency called 26 Creative, and honestly, it was kind of like, it was something that I wanted to build away from like my personal brand.
For sure.
Like I tried making an agency at my personal brand, but I felt like that I Said Media is just like, it's me. That's why it's even called I Said. So and so 26 Creative is more based on a separate entity that is based on like a team, people that in the city that I can rely on to help like represent 26 Creative and help clients and businesses, you know, grow on social media. So that's kind of been like a work in progress, you know, taking it day by day. But I do have a scenario about equipment now that I'm thinking about it. It's sometimes it's like the littlest stuff, right? So when I first started shooting jewelry, you know, I was using like a regular lens, and a regular lens just doesn't capture the best detail. So, and this is like, this ain't just investing for you, but it's also investing for your client. Like, you know, I wanted to purchase, you know, this type of lens. It's like a 90mm macro. So it's used to capture really like close detail.
Yeah, fine, yeah.
So working with watches and like diamonds and stuff like that, that's like something you want to get. So I took the initiative to like purchase that specific lens, and I mainly like almost, if I use that lens, it's probably for jewelry and watches for my client. So that's just like another instance. Or like when you do video and you don't have internal NDs, neutral density blocks, like or filters, you know, need to purchase a neutral density variable lens that goes on the front, because you can't change really you just don't want to like up your aperture or like change your shutter. You kind of want to keep it at the settings that it needs to be, and having that on the front of the lens just goes like a long way to, you know, keep your bokeh and stuff like that. So it's just little things like that, you know, and then that's when you start buying more and more equipment. You're like, I don't want to look at this little monitor. It'd be nice if I had a bigger monitor. Or I want better sound. So I got mics now. I want better lighting. So I got lights now. So it's that's just kind of like, you know, a moment where I was like, okay, I think I need this, and I think it's worth the purchase. Especially with my car videos. Like, I shoot all my car videos like on a gimbal. It's like super critical to shoot like with a gimbal to get the effects that I need to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Just stuff like that goes a long way for your post-production. So
yeah, what do you think about, I talk a lot to people about this, is that, you know, and this is why I got into making more content, not just podcasts, but for I'm a barber, and I also do DJing. I do weddings. We'll have to talk about that someday. But there's two kinds of people. There's the people that want to shoot content, but don't have the content.
Okay.
And then there's the people that their life is a freaking movie, and they've just never turned on the camera. And I think I was one of those people that I used to watch social media people for years, all the way back to Vine, bro.
Oh yeah.
And I mean, I play multiple instruments. I dance. I mean, I just love talking. I love, you know, I just love culture. I love traveling. I love doing all these things. And I remember at an old barbershop I worked at, somebody told me, they're like, you're the kind of person that you could have a camera on you like all the time.
Okay.
And I just never turned it on until I did.
Yeah.
And then there's the other people that they're like, y'all want to be a videographer. And I ask them, what are you going to shoot? I don't know. And it's like, okay, like, and back to what you were saying about the people that have gotten resourceful. It's like, okay, we all go to school, you know, unless you're homeschooled, you have sports teams, and even then, you know, you probably have something around you that you can film. Yeah. Like, turn on that camera. Whoever is the most entertaining person or is the most eye-catching or whatever, like, they're brandable. And if they take that seriously and they already move like that, become part of their flow. Yeah. So, like, it's like, in a way, I've become, you know, right now I shoot myself, but eventually, like, I work very well with videographers. Like, I'm not a videographer, but I am in the sense that because of dance, I know choreography. So I know, like, when I'm DJing, I know about B-roll, and I know that B-roll is the glue that brings everything together. Yeah. So who cares if I'm just DJing, like, what's going to be the transition to the next scene?
Right. Yeah.
So a lot of times when cameras come into me, shout out to my guy Noir Media, he really, we used to make movies, bro, is that, you know, we'd get and because I know how to produce music as well, we would get a good song, upbeat song, maybe like house song, and we'd get the tempo going, and then it would be something that, you know, me bringing my gear into the venue, people, you know, walking around, dapping each other up, and it's kind of like, okay, you're getting the setting ready, and then it's like, you know, maybe I'll put my hands up, and then it's like, boom, and like, bro, recaps for me are how I really got into what videography could be, because you're painting a picture. I remember one of the worst DJ events I was part of was actually one of the best cinematic things that I worked on. It was we were working with like the guys that rent out the yachts downtown Cincy. And they had like a Caribbean day party or something like that. And it was decently attended, but the chemistry was a little, it wasn't very balanced. And everybody was there and kind of waiting for their people to kind of like take the party to the next level. And so I was actually the guest DJ. I was the person that was brought on at the last minute. And so what I used to do, bro, I used to spend the money that I got for DJing on my videographer. I'd get paid like $200 to $300, and I'd spend sometimes all of what I made on a videographer.
Yeah, spending on the marketing side.
Yeah, because
sorry about that.
no, don't be, bro. Honestly, honestly, like for me, it was cool to capture what I did, because then it saves me money, because like, all right, I paid $300, like, and this is back in the day, obviously, with these prices. But, you know, I spent $300 on a recap video, but that recap video got me all these other gigs, because instead of telling you that I can, you know, do well at your party, go look at my IG. You know what I mean? It's like a business card. And so.
Love it.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
Videography's the goat, bro.
Exactly, it really is. So. And then also too, it made me realize that, okay, I don't always have to pay a videographer. Like I have to pay the videographer for the things, like I don't have time to go check the camera while I'm DJing a gig. But there's certain things that, you know, like for instance, I just shot one the other day of me setting up for a wedding. And stuff like that, bro. Like people, there's two different kinds of people. There's the people that consume your product as somebody that's not in the industry, and then as you know, I guarantee you have a lot of followers that are in the industry, and they just like to see or hear what kind of gear do you use, how do you set up, and that's kind of like tutorial content. And I look at everything as content now. So anyways, back to that story with the yacht. I literally, bro, this party was dead.
No movement.
And I was the second DJ. And yeah, so I'll just leave it there for now. So I was so frustrated, because I wasn't making no money off that gig. Like, and I spent money on a videographer, and he had a drone with him. Even more, I was like, we got to do something. So
can't waste time.
Exactly.
Exactly.
So I literally turned the music off, like fader down, complete silence. I got on the microphone. I said, listen, guys. I was like, we're going to shoot content. We're going to shoot a video. You know, look like you're having a good time. We're about to put the drone in the sky. Let's paint a picture.
You told the crowd, he's like...
I said, model.
We got to get lit.
Yeah. I said, just model it. Whether it's a good time or not, model it. And through modeling it, it actually became a good time. And we, as you know, like if there's just me and you zoom in. If there's empty spaces, you cut those, you splice, you do all this. So, bro, but when people realized that they were gonna be on camera.
Oh, that's the biggest game changer, bro. Whenever you put a camera on somebody, they'll like, you know.
And then you put music.
Immediately move or do something.
Exactly, and then you put music to it. You put a soundtrack to it because I did a photo shoot I think last year, and I don't do a lot of photo shoots. I'm starting to do them more because I mean you need headshots and you need different stuff for your own branding. But the guy told me, he's like, "Do you want?" Because I was a little awkward. He's like, "Do you want music on?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He turned music on, and I realized like, whoa, that's the vibe. That's the and now I realize that even though like me DJing a night is the like emphasis, now I view it more as the soundtrack to like the people and what they're doing, because that's really the emphasis. Because like I can play music, but if people aren't dancing, if people aren't singing, if people aren't moving, then I'm not doing my job right.
Yeah, for a DJ, yeah.
So and I think like stuff like DJs, videographers, we work synonymously.
Yeah, it's definitely a hand in hand like experience because
I mean, all your recap videos need music, and whether it's a DJ or just like music in general, like content needs music, music needs content, because you can hear something, but like, I wanted to ask you that too. You ever shot music videos?
Yeah, I've done music videos. They're kind of more. They're more on the complex side, which doesn't really align parallel with the budget sometimes.
It's cinematography, and they probably aren't ready to spend that money.
Yeah, when I first started doing video, it's actually funny because when you were talking about that dude, I was like, I don't know what I want to film. I actually ran into a friend. So the guy, shout out my boy Dan, we met somebody, like a friend that did music. And then his other dude did music as well. And I kind of liked the vibe of his, you know what I mean? Kind of like, indie-ish a little bit.
Yeah.
So for me to like get experience and just filming things like day to day, I ended up becoming, really good friends. My boy Z, shout out Pango. And dude, I got the experience like shooting music videos. He would go do interviews in like different cities. So I would I got experience doing vlogs, like just not even like a game plan. Like, I want to do this so I can get experience doing vlogs. Like it was just like, we went to LA, you know what I mean? It's like, we went to like Columbus, Louisville. It's just like, let's just go, ride with the homies and just like film it. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just like the experience with music videos. You can get really fun with music videos, especially like if you ever watch like Cole Bennett's like interviews, like he emphasized that he never like was worried about like getting paid. He was just more or less worried about like the creative side and what he could make out of it. And when you start doing video, that's something that you just gotta go into it as like a hobby at first, unless like you're getting a degree in, sports videography or something. You need to hit the workforce, clubs or organizations or whatever. But for me, it was just like, I vibe with this dude's music. I vibe with him in general, like good friend. Had him in my wedding and all that, and I ended up making like a good friendship out of it too.
Right.
So and I was like, making visuals with him was a good experience. And then actually Eddie Trainer, shout out DJ E-Train, that was like a really, really big mentor in my life with videography. That he taught me he pretty much taught me the importance of relationships and networking.
For sure.
Because when I first started doing video as well, he just would hit me up. I'd go do things with him. He would toss me a couple coins, which, I appreciated it, value my time. But he's led me to a lot of great things as well. Yeah. And that's just like him, he was a DJ, so I'd just be like, I just pull up and get some content with him too. So, with DJs and videographers, it's definitely a hand-in-hand experience when it comes to like, making visuals and stuff. Right. So, it's kind of cool that you were able to kind of get some leads off of the videography that you was able to get. So, proof's in the pudding.
Literally.
So, love to hear it.
Yeah. What piece of advice would you leave with young entrepreneurs, people getting into media? It could be any resources. It could be videos. It could be books. Whatever. What would you like to leave with the channel?
I feel like if you are a young videographer or entrepreneur getting into like the media world, my biggest advice would just to build like relationships, network, kind of figure out what you want to film, and just in the beginning of my experience, I just like never said no to everything. Like when I first started, like I worked for the NFL in 2023. The previous 2 years, every single Friday night, I was shooting football. And if I had an opportunity to shoot college, that was even better. Because I just knew that I wanted to I was like, I have to film like NFL football. This is going to be the coolest thing ever. And so I started connecting with people that shot for the NFL on social media, showing them love on their posts.
Yeah, shout out Justin Jemison.
Yeah, for real. That's the homie. But yeah, it's like just whatever you want to be part of, you got to tap into like that circle.
Yes.
Like you can't do anything in life unless people like know you in that world.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So that's really important. And then another thing is I'm a firm believer of like never burning bridges or, having grudges against people. Like, when I went to this first car shop, shout out to my boy Garrett at Podium. But when I first was trying to shoot automotive content, like he told me that he had to wait for a little bit because he was up and running his stuff. Well, I was like, all right. But I was like, damn, I just started renting out an apartment. I gotta like start paying bills. So it wasn't like screw you, I'm about to go to somebody else. It was like, all right, like that's cool. But I'm gonna try to figure it out. So I went and shot for like another automotive shop, and after cutting ties with them on good terms, you know what I mean. I got fired, but it's like they needed to cut the resources, right. And sometimes marketing goes first or the social guy, but that's fine. Like it is what it is. So, but
other opportunities.
Like I said, I will always figure out a way. And being a young videographer, that's what you got to do. And just never burn bridges, bro. Because especially in this city, Cincinnati, we are so small that like you will eventually run into that person again. You really will. You will. So there's no reason to be mad at somebody because they didn't hire you for something, or they use somebody else, or they just flat out don't want you to work with them. That's you just got to get over that and figure something out. So that's my biggest point right there is never. I always tell people like you don't have to burn a bridge, but it's always okay to do a U-turn. So.
Wow, that's great advice.
Yeah, so not the craziest quote, but
no, that's great. That's great. Relationships are everything, and valuing, even if we work together and we're not working together anymore, it's like,
Yeah. I mean, dude, there's been people that like, I worked with and, unfortunately don't work with them now, but it's like, still cool people.
Yeah,
keep
of
it
course.
cordial.
Yeah, exactly. So that's great advice. How can people find you on socials?
So my Instagram is ISED Media, and then my personal is Sedi You Heard with a underscore at the end. So definitely if you want to shoot me a DM or something, I'm always on IG because I manage 8 pages. Yeah. So that's how people can reach me most definitely is through IG.
Perfect. Well, thanks for coming through, brother.
Dude, appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.
Tap in.